that. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay. All right, could you see my screen now?
No.
Yes, no? All right, let me try it one time.
Can you see your screen, obviously?
I could still see you, but I'm seeing if that could, I went to, let me try it again. I went to present. Let me see what it says. Share screen. Okay.
Do we have to? Oh.
And one participant can share a screen at a time. Okay. Share. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I think, okay.
See it now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Now let's see if I can find my, let's see what I got here. Move this thing. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay.
Right. You got it all.
So
Okay.
could you see that? Like I numbered damp heat, excess heat. Could you see that?
Yep. So 1, 2, 3. So excess heat, deficient cold, deficient cold. Okay. So bladder patterns we're good on.
Okay.
Heart. Okay. Deficient cold, deficient cold. Heart. Oh, for heart blood deficiency, I said deficient cold.
All right, hold on. So that's number 6, heart blood deficiency.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So you know what? Let's see if I could do this. This is how I did it. So I push this over here. Oh, actually, let's go to this. Let's see.
Hope he doesn't call us on us individually.
Yeah. Okay. So diagnosis, and that was heart. You said
Heart pattern. Yep.
okay.
Did we have to do the complicated ones of like how they the multiple one? I don't think so, right?
No, I think I did a couple of them, but I'm not really sure. Yeah.
Okay. So heart blood deficiency.
Okay. There it is. All right. So you know what? Let's.
I got my sheet up here. So
let's look at
hang on.
tongue is pale and dry, right? So pale and dry, we have either deficient cold, I see pale, and I see excessive colds.
So we know it's cold. So yeah, so it's definitely cold. So the question is
cold. And now let's look at the pulse.
Oh, I think you said deficient heat.
Choppy, fine, choppy, fine. So would that be?
So fine would be.
Pulse is where? There it goes. This is forceful.
So it's going to be the deficient because it says weak, fine, scattered.
All right, so it would be deficient cold, right?
I wonder if you just mix up because heart yin deficiency is the next one, which was deficient heat. So maybe you just plugged it in wrong or something.
Yeah, okay.
That would probably make sense.
Yeah, so it's deficient cold, not deficient heat. Yeah.
So let's go back to your list.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let me scroll down. So where are we up to?
Hang on. Heart. So Jing deficiency, I said deficient heat, Yang deficient cold.
Right.
Wait, where's yin deficiency? Do you have yin deficiency on there?
Kidney yin?
I think you missed that one. It's okay.
Okay. So actually,
yeah, it said kidney yin deficiency.
Is it kidney yin that I missed? All right, hold on. Let me just put it here so I know I got to look it up. So it's kidney yin. Okay. All right, I'll do that later.
Yeah. And I said it was deficient heat.
All
right, so large intestine. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Oh, my God.
No worries. You'll understand what it means.
All right. No, I'm gonna make notes, so I know I gotta check it. Okay. All right. Okay.
So damp heat in the large intestine. So up for a second.
Hold on. Let me make it louder because I hear Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm saying just if you go up a little bit.
Okay.
Scroll. Okay, so damp heat in the large intestine. Yep, I said excess heat.
Okay.
Heat in the large intestine. Yep, excess heat. Dryness. I said deficient heat. All right. Uh, cold in the large, so deficient cold. Liver. All right, we're on to liver now.
Okay.
So liver chi stagnation. I said deficient cold. Blood stagnation. I said deficient cold. You said excess cold. Purple. Oh yeah, this was like the purple.
Yeah, actually, I put that there because I wasn't sure.
Oh, blood stagnation. That was my question too. That was the one where it was like it was talking about having purple tongue. So the blood is stuck in the liver and it can't get out to the limbs and stuff, right? Because the liver transports the chi around.
Right.
So I was thinking. So my feeling was, if you're not getting the blood, you're deficient. Right? How does this make sense? I don't know.
Let's take a quick look at the that
Yeah. Why don't you take a look at it? I read some of the like that thing that you sent me, and it was like way over my head. There was
yeah,
so much
I was
to it.
thinking the same thing. I mean, I even like read it to myself and recorded it and listened back just to see, and it was fairly confusing. I think this this website is a lot easier. The Sacred Lotus is a lot more understand. It's easier to understand. But I agree with you. That book, the CAM book, is really difficult to because it also has all the those meridians and stuff. So that makes it confusing, and it has a lot of diseases that.
I know. And Anton said he's like, look, there's so many layers to this, and he was just like, Drew's sort of extracted stuff that we're on liver.
Okay, let's see. Where am I?
We're on the liver one.
Oh, I went to the wrong one. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, diagnosis, and this. Okay, and that was.
So blood stagnation.
Okay.
Okay, so
let's see. So first we have the purple tongue, which really isn't listed here. But he said, yeah, where did I read about the purple? Purple was
it was in the CAM book.
book, and it said
I thought it was kind of like you're so cold.
right. Exactly.
Purple, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but see, what I don't understand is like, okay, with the yin and the yang, right?
Mm.
So I understand that if you have too much heat, that's a lot of yang energy. You have too much cold, that's a lot of yin energy.
Right.
But what I don't understand, what I don't understand is like deficient in heat, which I thought was yang, which is a yin deficiency. Like that's what I don't, in these things, these constitutions, that's what I'm not understanding.
In terms of if yang is mainly heat and if yin is mainly colds, if you're
Right.
deficient in yang, would that mean how does that relate to the cold? That means that you're okay with you wouldn't be excess. Would you be excess cold or deficient in cold? Is there a balance? Like would one override the other, or it's totally separate? That's sort of confusing me with me.
I need him to go over this. And like, when he says deficient heat and deficient cold, does that mean you're deficient in heat, or does that mean, you know what I'm saying? Or you're deficient in cold, but then it says like yang deficient. Like that's what I need him to just go over.
Yeah, I agree. That's confusing for me also. Let's look at these signs just for a second. So the signs is, let's see, stagnation. Okay, so stagnation, that I would think stagnation means it's not moving, so it would be cold, right? Blood stagnation. It's usually when it's hot, it goes,
Right.
yeah.
That was my thinking, but I might be wrong.
I think actually you're right. It makes more sense. Um,
I don't know.
yeah, you know what? I think if I had to take a guess, I would go with, um,
Cold limbs, like with the excess cold. Well, pale completion, lassitude, cold in any parts of the body, desire. I guess, yeah.
yeah, I guess I think you're right.
uh,
Okay, so that was liver blood deficiency. So that was liver blood deficiency, right?
this is blood stagnation.
Where is that? Okay, let me go back to this. Okay.
Okay, so blazing liver fire. I said excess heat.
Okay.
Um, blood deficiency, deficient cold. Yang rising, ascending. I said deficient heat. Cold stagnation in the liver channel. I said deficient cold. Oh, you see that's the same thing. The stagnation.
Hmm.
You said too much cold. I said not enough. I said deficient.
That was cold stagnation in the liver.
Um, this was cold stagnation in liver. Deficient. Is that just like you're run down? Like your organs aren't working enough?
I think so. Yeah, that's sort of what I got.
Okay. Well, why don't we ask him about the stagnation thing on Tuesday?
Yeah, that is a good question.
All right. Damp heat, you know, I feel excess heat. Gallbladder. Wait. Gallbladder. Oh. Damp heat. Oh, yeah. I said excess heat. Not deficient cold. Okay, we're good on those.
Okay. So
Lung pattern.
you said excess heat or deficient cold?
No, those were correct. Yep. I said the same thing.
Oh, cool. Okay, good.
All right, lung.
I had trouble with lung dryness. I put excess colds, but I wasn't really clear because it said something. I wasn't sure about the tongue not red. What did you put for lung dryness?
Well, the first two I put the same. Dryness, I put deficient heat.
Deficient heat. Okay. Yeah, I put excess cold, but I was really not. I wasn't. Do you remember? Let me go. I'm going to go to that and explain to me why you put that because I was sort of confused with that one. Let me go to this. So that's lung dryness, right? Let's go diagnose.
By the way, with the Sanjiao one, I didn't think we should had anything to do. Did you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I did not, but I agree with you. We didn't really cover that at all.
So I didn't bother. Next one. There you go.
And we're looking for, that was lung, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was
Dryness.
dryness. There we go. Okay. All right. So okay. All right. So the tongue is dry but not red. All right. So that means it has to be either. I was thinking since it said red for excess heat and it said red for deficient heat, that it would be cold. That was my sort of thinking.
Wait, can you go back to the description?
The right here, what description?
The sacred lotus.
Yeah, it's right. You can't see it?
No,
right.
I can't see it.
Hold on.
That's weird.
Okay, maybe my, let's see. Let's see, share. Could you see it now? Oh, hold on. You know, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll start to share again. That works. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, share. Could you see it now?
No.
Stop share. All right, I'm going to try it one more time.
I mean, I can get onto the website if you want.
Okay.
Here,
Okay.
I'll bring it up in my things. That way
Okay.
you don't have to do all the work.
No problem.
All right, lung pattern, dryness. Here we go. Empty. So I thought empty pulse. So I felt like it was deficient.
Okay, so for empty pulse, you said excess heat?
I said deficient heat.
Okay. Right, it says no force. Okay, so that makes sense. Empty would be no force. That makes sense.
What did you say?
I said excess cold because it said that it wasn't red. So since heat was red, I figured it couldn't be heat because it says dry but not red. And it says dry, so deficient colds said wet. So that's why I went with excess cold because it didn't say wet and it didn't say red. So I figured it was dry. But the pulse, let me take a look at the pulse. Pulse is empty. Okay, so empty pulse. Let's see what looks good there. Forceful, I guess it would forceful.
I know why I said heat, because it said dry and it didn't say anything about pale or um, anything else. I mean, and I
Yeah,
feel
that's true because the cold doesn't say anything about dry. So you're right.
so that's why just because there was dry, I felt like it was one of those things where it's like it's kind of confusing and you
Yeah,
might get all the symptoms, but just I saw the word dry and I think I immediately said, oh, it's got to be heat. And because there's an empty pulse, I said, well, it's got to be deficient.
yeah. You know what? Actually, now that I now that you say that, I think you're actually right. It does make more sense.
I
Even
don't know. I
though
mean,
it says but not red, but it says, but it does say dry and it does say empty. But how did you get empty though from the pulse, from forceful,
just,
rapid, uh,
yeah,
a lot of yang activity?
just because,
That's the only thing I'm not sure about.
because so under deficient heat, so
Okay.
the few pulses with, so excess is always like forceful, rapid, there's a lot of activity,
All right.
but deficient, there's not much there. It's very weak. It's lacking any sort of resistance or force. So when it says empty, I thought it meant like there's not much going on, meaning it's not very forceful.
Yeah. So that would then be deficient, not
Right.
excess.
Right. So it's deficient heat. Right.
Okay. Cool. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So we're on the same page.
Good. All right. Yeah, I sort of agree with you. It does make more sense, even though it says red, but still it's more. There are two or three things that it's good for, and one not. So I
Yeah.
think good um, deficient was more to it than not. And yeah, so I got to agree with you. Deficient heat for the dryness. But I still want to ask him to clarify what. The only thing I'm confused about is the red, but um,
Well, maybe the question is like, hey, if not all, like, what do you do when you just don't have that much to go on? You
right.
know, and I think that's the trouble is like some of these are really tricky because it doesn't say red or pale. It's
Mm.
just like it's just dry. And like what are you supposed to do with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, I guess you have to go with what you have, and what we have, I think, does lean more towards deficient heat um, than cold, and especially dryness. You're right. Cold is usually you're right, damp, and dryness is usually heat. So yeah, it's got to be. I agree with you. It's got to be heat.
Yeah.
So I'll change that
All
for
right, let's keep going. I have some questions on the last one. So
me. So that was deficient heat, right? Deficient heat. Okay. Well, I'll keep that there. All right. So could you see what I have here or no? The my list.
I can't see the list.
Okay. All right. So You know what? How about if tell me
What?
yours from uh, Invasion of Lungs by Wind.
Yeah. Invasion of lungs by wind cold.
Good. Deficient colds.
Deficient cold. Invasion by wind heat. I said excess heat.
Good. Okay.
Invasion of lungs by wind water. I said deficient cold.
Good.
Damp phlegm obstructing the lungs. I said excess cold.
Good.
Heat obstructing the lungs. I said excess heat.
Right.
Phlegm fluids obstructing the lungs. I said excess cold.
Let me just check that because I said deficient cold. I'm not sure if they made a mistake. Let me say. Hold on. Let me check real quick. That was.
Definitely. Oh, it said sticky. It said thick, sticky white coating, but the pulse was weak. That was a confusing one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the tongue suggests that it's excess, and the pulse suggests that it's weak.
Yeah. I guess that could be either or.
Maybe that's a good one.
Hmm.
Oh, but you might be right because it says chills yang deficiency up above.
All right. All right.
So you know what? I'm gonna star this one to come back to.
Yeah. I think we should ask them about that one. Yeah.
Okay. Ah,
Um, I lost. Which one was that again? I lost it.
lung fluids obstructing the lungs.
Okay.
Oop, I'm ripping this here. All right, small intestine.
Um,
So there's another one of those stagnation ones that we'll have to.
okay. So the excess heat in small intestine. That was
Excess heat. I said excess heat.
okay.
Chi stagnation. I said deficient cold.
Right. Oh, wait.
Um,
Okay. Small. Was that small intestine? Cheese stagnation.
yep.
You said what?
I said deficient cold.
All right. I said excess cold. I'm not sure
But
why.
that's where we ran into trouble the last time, which was the stagnation question. So we'll ask him on Tuesday.
I'll
Uh,
put,
what?
I'm gonna put a star next to that one.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put a star next to stagnation. Chi obstruction, I said excess cold.
Right.
Deficiency in cold, I said deficient cold.
Okay. I said excess cold. I'm gonna put a star next to that. Okay.
Oops.
Yeah. I put. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I have to recheck that one. Okay.
Well, the title itself says deficiency in cold, so I thought,
That's true. Yeah. It is. Yeah. That makes sense. I don't know why I put excess. That's the. All right.
maybe because it says excess consumption of cold, maybe that
Hmm.
threw you off. I don't know. Some of these are confusing, I think, I started to get very confused on the spleen or the stomach. I think I started to get a little tripped up.
Yeah, toward the end, it was a little more difficult. I agree with you.
Yeah. So, do you have your list up?
Yeah, yeah.
So, Chi deficiency, I said deficient cold
The spleen?
for spleen.
Okay,
Yang deficiency, I said deficient cold.
right.
Chi sinking, I said deficient cold. Unable to control the blood, I said deficient cold.
Hold on. I didn't, I think I might have missed another one. That was, so from spleen, chi sinking, the next one was, next one I have is spleen yang deficiency, but there was one before that? What was it? I must have missed it.
Oh, so there's spleen, qi deficiency, yang deficiency, qi sinking, unable to control the blood.
Got that, okay. Was that, what was that?
I had a, I had changed my answer. I changed it to deficient cold.
Yeah, that's what I put. Okay.
Okay. Damp heat invading the spleen. I said excess heat.
Um, I put excess cold for that. Damp cold invading the spleen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I flip-flopped these on my paper. You're right. Damp cold, I said excess cold. Damp heat, I said excess heat. That's right. Oh, wait, is that right? Yes.
Yeah, that's right, right. That's what I got.
I'm sorry. I flipped them around. There's a motorcycle. I also wanted to know, ask him about like the word dampness and moisture and what does that really imply in the, you know what I mean? What's really happening in the body when something says damp? Because it says, because you can use it for both damp heat and damp cold. So I'm like, what does that mean? Is it deficient? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me it's more like a cold, but no, I guess it could be either or, but I guess it seems more cold, a cold damp for most of them. But I guess it's when you combine two, when there's sort of two things happening at once for the heat. It's usually heat is dry, but I guess if there's two things going on at the same time, it could be hot and moist. But I'm not really sure. I'm just guessing.
I want to ask him about that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, we ready for stomach?
Yeah.
Okay, chi deficiency, I said deficient cold.
Right.
Chi deficiency and cold, I said deficient cold.
Right.
Cold invasion, I said excess cold.
Right.
Yin deficiency, I said deficient heat.
Right.
Stomach fire, I said excess heat.
Good.
Rebellious stomach chi, excess heat.
I'm not sure why I put colds. Be a mistake. I'm gonna put star next to it. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put belly stomach chi. You put excess heat. You said.
Uh-huh.
Excess heat. Let me just check.
Uh, oh, this one I think yeah, these were the two I kind of made up, like, because um
Let me just check.
the last one I said, wait a second. Food accumulation, I also said excess heat, and the last one I said excess cold.
Um, well, stagnation in the stomach. I put excess heat. And what was the other one you said?
Oh. Um,
Although stagnation again.
yeah, there again, I feel like we just don't understand.
Yeah, but I think it makes more sense to me looking at it now, not just, stepping back. I agree with you. Stagnation makes more sense colds than hot. So
I don't know. See, I don't know if it's like there's so much blood built up that you have too much heat in the liver.
right, that could be too much. Too much could, that's true. It could be that too.
Right, like I could see it going either way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a star next to that and do
Yeah, these last few ones were the ones I was like,
So
yeah,
what about
rebel.
the liver in the stomach? Can you do that? Oh, actually, no, these were the combined ones. These
No,
were,
these were the stomach ones. I didn't do the combined ones because I looked at them and it looked complicated. I don't think he
I
expected.
sort of guessed, actually. Yeah, I don't really think we probably didn't have to do them.
Oh, for food accumulation, there's a thick coating, so it's excess, and it says heat and food retention. I think that's why I put excess heat for that one
That was for,
for food accumulation.
okay.
I don't know.
No,
I don't.
yeah, I think we got most of them.
On the
Um,
rebellious stomach one, I have no idea.
hmm,
But nausea, belching, hiccuping, I was like, that to me, vomiting,
hmm,
I don't know.
yeah, I think that could go either way.
Okay. So we're going to ask about stagnation,
Yeah, and
dampness, and moisture. Um,
s- um,
explain yin and yang. Does that make sense when I'm sort of like asking about the constitutions?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What do we mean when we say deficient, and what do we mean when we say excess? And then are you, yeah, like I'm just very thrown off. And like how those relate to yin and yang. All right.
Right.
Do you feel good about the assignment?
Um, yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I think it was, most of them were pretty straightforward, but there's, you know, there's a few of them, not many, that, like with the stagnation and could be a little confusing.
Um,
But I think for the most part, I think we were in agreement with most of them, and they were pretty straightforward.
yeah, I guess too, like I have other questions about the organ stuff. Um, I don't know, like if you do, I feel like it's very, very complex. And things like I know that the kidney opens in the ears and the liver opens in the eyes, but like why is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing in terms of also the why do they have that um, where like the heart and the small intestine, or the lung and the is it the gallbladder, um, what I'm not really clear in terms of why one's related to the other, or why they're
Paired up, you mean?
yeah, why are they paired up
That's a great.
now? And it seems like there's other information about how one relates to the other, besides the one that they're saying now. You know what I mean? It's like confusing in terms of why are they pairing it up now, and how does that relate to? It seems like a lot of them relate to all of the organs, but why are they paired up to those specific ones?
Mhm.
I'm not really clear.
No, that's a great thing, and I think too we're gonna get into like how they relate to each other, and I think I'm kind of a similar thing as you are, where I'm kind of like, yeah, why is the stomach and spleen and not like the stomach and the small intestine going together? I mean, I understand like so with like kidney and bladder, I think that's kind
Yeah,
of obvious because liver and gallbladder, like those make sense to me.
yeah,
But like heart and small intestine, I kind of read a thing and I think I started to understand why. But like the lung and the large intestine, for example, like
yeah, yeah. That's
I know like lung has to do with sweating, right? And it's all about the skin. And
mm,
the large intestine absorbs the water, right?
yeah, yeah,
And maybe draws it up. So essentially, the small intestine and the large intestine support the spleen. They kind of do a similar thing where like the small intestine seems like just an extension of the spleen in a way where the spleen takes all the nutrients and stuff and dumps the waste down to I'm sorry, so wait, so the food goes into the stomach,
right.
it rots, it
Ferment,
starts to
right,
food, and the spleen comes in and extracts the nutrients from that food
right.
and transforms it into chi, and then brings it out to like the muscles and stuff. And then it moves, so then the food moves into the small intestine, and the small intestine continues the process of like taking out the pure stuff from the impure, and moves the waste down to the large intestine. The large intestine continues to extract, like absorb the water, and then excretes it. And the spleen, um, also takes some of the water impurities or takes the stuff out of the water, right?
Because
And
it's the takes the good out of the water, takes the good water, and then the bad water goes, I think, to the kidney.
but
Right?
I was gonna say, what does the kidney do then? Like, because I thought that's what the kidney did. Like, don't they have do they all have the same functions? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was sort of confusing too, in terms of it seems like some of them have the
You
same
there?
um, with
I think those.
skin and the liver, and also the kidney.
Oh,
Um, the kidney there does a lot.
you there?
And it, it seems like
Hello?
the kidney relates to everything. Um,
Hang on. You. Oh, my connections. I missed everything you just said. Here, let me move you a little bit. You there?
yeah, yeah. Could you
Okay.
hear
Okay, sorry.
me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed all that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not. I'm a little confused about in terms of. I hopefully it's going to give us like a diagram in terms of what I think it's good what you were saying in terms of following a direction from, say, from the mouth to the um, to the stomach to the like where does it go and what happens to each one. I guess some things it's happened simultaneously, but it's a little confusing. Like you said, when the food goes down from the stomach, does it go to the small intestine to be separated, um, or does it go to the kidney? Or where does the kidney come in? Does it come in after the small intestine, or same as small intestine, or the large intestine, or before the large intestine, or after the large intestine? Where does the kidney come in to get the liquid?
Like
That
I could an anatomy course or something. You know what I
yeah,
Maybe he could give us a walkthrough, like, okay, like, could you just explain when you eat something, like, walk us through what happens?
right, right.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Sort of like I'm thinking like as the old magic school bus things when the bus goes through the body. Like
Oh,
where are we going?
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think it would be nice if he would like go over all that. Um,
Yeah, I think he will. But
'cause let me look at the cheat sheet here. Just to like uh,
yeah, I tried making a cheat sheet from the book, but it was really difficult. I think it was a lot easier doing it from the videos, the notes, his slideshow, and the website. The book was really hard.
you know what? I think the book's too hard. I think you have to go off like the slideshow and this like, you know, handout that he gave us. Cause for me personally, that book was so complex and I was just like, what?
I spent most of the time looking up words,
Yeah, exactly.
not getting the whole picture. It's odd.
So, yeah, like things like the heart, it says hair is the odds and ends of blood, but I don't know like what that means because then it says that the lungs dominate skin and hair. You know what I mean? So like what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? And like how the heart rules the hair versus how the lungs rule the hair.
Yeah, I know. The only thing I remember with the hair is when it's dry and brittle. But I'm trying to think. But where would it be? I know when you're deficient. I think it was I'm trying to think where I read. I just remember all I remember with the hair is him saying something about it being dry and deficient, very dry, and I forgot. I gotta look that up. Um, what a passages. So yeah, I guess it could be. Yeah, because it says that it regulates the water passages, the lungs. So I guess if it's deficient, um, the water's blocked, so your hair would become brittle. Um, but for me, that's really hard. For me, it's really hard to tell well, about hair being dry. But I think okay, the nose makes sense. Okay, but how's purple? So
Should I just ask him to like run through like all the functions really quickly?
yeah, because he said what they do and what are they producing. So um, so the lungs, I guess. Should we say what would you say they're producing? Um, let's see, the lungs are called.
Like kidneys produce.
I guess, um, and that too. It seems like a lot of things form chi
Yeah.
or part of producing chi.
Well, he said, remember he said to us, he said, write this down. You need to know this. The stomach and the spleen create the chi, and the liver and the um, gallbladder, or the, I'm sorry, what was it? Was it the liver and the gallbladder? Yeah, the liver and the gall
Sure, right? I know they store blood. Remember,
transport
is it chi too? Right, transport and transformation and
transportation. He,
transformation. That is that's the spleen, right?
but he said the spleen does that, but the liver kind of also does that. Like that's why I'm
Yeah, I'm not sure about chi. I remember reading though that the liver stores blood. I'm not sure if it stores chi too, but I definitely remember reading about the liver storing blood.
isn't blood chi,
Yeah, I guess yeah, that's true. So I guess it does. Yeah.
which is like the multiple functions. I'm gonna ask. I'm just gonna like ask him all of these questions because I think it'd be nice if he would just review it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he definitely is going to. But let's see, lungs. Um, yeah, there was. Let's just. The other thing too that was a little confusing to me was the whole essence thing, because it says here, together with the spleen, the stomach controls the transportation of the um, food essence. Now, is that a different essence than the essence that they talk about in the kidney or
The woo. What did you say? The woo essence?
the on one of the slides it said together with the spleen, the stomach controls the transportation of the food essence of the whole body.
Uh huh.
The whole essence thing, I'm not clear on. Like food essence.
What is the s? So I think the essence is essentially like what is it made up of? It extracts like the nutrients from it.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's
Okay,
what I would guess.
okay.
She holds the blood in the vessels. That's kind of a confusing. I'm just like, there's so much here. It's very overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I know. So one other thing too, I asked about Anton. I was like, Anton, like, I didn't realize when I signed up for this that there was going to be so many like weekly meetings and assignments, and I had no idea. Like, I've done lots of these programs before, like certifications and stuff, and like, I was like, oh, it'll just be like some of these great weekends and whatever, and then they were like, no, like there's like textbooks and like readings, and I was like, holy crap, like what am I?
I'm glad he gave us 2 weeks for this thing because it was a lot there.
Yeah, no,
It was hard, but it was time consuming. It is. Yeah.
yeah.
I also wasn't sure about, but it's about the second part because they didn't mention about the second part. Like I wasn't sure if if it was included in the first, but it seems like it is. Because he said we're going to be together a year. So, so I guess it is. And he seems like it's more, he sort of gave the indication that it's more complex once we get to the second part, but hopefully we'll have this, and with this background, maybe it won't be as hard as, you know.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope not. And he was like, "Oh yeah, well the second part of the year, like I really want you to get into all the terms and stuff." And I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm not here to memorize all these, herb terms."
I know I took a memory course a couple of years ago, and I'm sort of, I'm looking for it now. I think I have to go back to it and refresh my memory on the memory course.
Well, we can study, we can make flashcards and stuff and find a way to.
Yeah, I remember one thing I do remember about the memory course is like try to make it fun and exaggerate everything. You know, like actually I was trying to do that with the spleen. I don't know if you know. Do you know Mr. Clean?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was like crazy things like that. I was thinking like Mr. Clean spleen, like the spleen deals with muscles. Mr. Clean had muscles, and that type of thing. So that sort of helps me when I think of like crazy weird things and try to make it fun.
Yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that's a great way, like any mnemonics or anything to help you, like associations or anything to
Right.
help
Exactly,
you,
association.
that works. Definitely. Um,
But,
so
but are there any of the organs that, anything within the organs that you found difficult or,
I think I'm, I think the lung throws me off the most, but I think I guess I'm just confused about like like we said, both the spleen and the liver are transporting the blood. Like what, you know, I don't know, like, and I know that liver goes to like the tendons and stuff, and spleen goes to the muscles and the limbs. But I guess I'm just a little confused where like some of them overlap or a little bit more behind. Like the why, like some of them are really straightforward. Like the gallbladder is literally just storing bile, which helps with like breaking down food, right, and stuff like that. Um, or like the urine, like the bladder,
right.
which is all about you know urine, and the large intestine I think is pretty straightforward. I
Mm,
think I think small intestine's also pretty straightforward.
mm.
Are these all the
Yeah, I agree that the heart, the kidney, and the liver is pretty complex. Yeah.
and those are the God, I was so these are the yin organs, right? The Zhang,
Mm.
and the Fu are like the bowels, right?
Yeah, that's something I didn't really study much that I probably should. Um,
Because they're like hollow
mm,
and they're connected with the outer.
okay, so yeah, and how what yeah, that's something I didn't. Where did you get the information on it? That's something I have to sort of go back to because I didn't really.
I
Where does
think
do you remember where you got that info from about the the outer and inner organs and the
it was from their presentation.
I gotta look
I
that up. I
that
forgot.
was where I also like the food stuff. I don't bitter, pungent. I haven't memorized like.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. He said we didn't have to do that right now. He said,
Oh, okay. Okay. Then that's fine.
yeah, I wrote down what he said we needed to do, and he said we needed was what the Zangpu organs do, what are they producing. I think that's mainly it. What they do and what they're producing. So let's sort of go over that real quick. See if we got that. So the lungs, um, what do the lungs do? Um, okay, so they, according to this, they control the channels. See, that's sort of too. When it says control the channels and blood vessels with the heart, okay, control dispersing and descending.
I don't get that either.
It's sort of confusing, but
Well, if maybe because like if you look at a lung, there's little teeny blood vessels. What
okay.
happens is the oxygen comes out and runs into the blood vessels. Then the waste is then breathed out, the carbon dioxide. Right? But how does that relate to, and like you sweat, and I don't get how it relates to the water passages and sweating.
Yeah, that is a great question. Um, although no, actually you do. Actually, it is interesting though. You do actually get water from air, or intake some water from air. And I remember him saying that, but we're not. He didn't really get into it, but he said later on we're going to get into it. And it does actually remind me of. I think you said you were into yoga too.
Mhm.
Do you remember the? Did you read anything about? I think what it's called, where some of these yogis could go without food and water. I forgot what it's
Yeah. Well, I know. See,
called.
what I'm wondering too is when you generate heat from breathing,
Right.
is that what you're talking about? When you go like,
Right. But no, not only that. No, I'm saying is you can intake water from breathing. It's slight, but I think that's where this is coming from. I'm not sure. I'm taking a guess because I know that there are some, not many, some people that can, um, through meditation or whatever, can
that's
survive
cool.
water. And where do they get the water from? They get the water from their air, from breathing it in. Um, I mean, it's minute, but I think that's where that's coming from.
Okay. I
But
I don't know.
that's sort of, I think that's sort of way out there, but it's possible. But to regulate um, and move the water, that's yeah, that I'm not really clear on. Um, and how, like you said, that I would like him to explain how the sweat relates to. The only thing I could think of is when you do a lot of activity and you're breathing hard, you do sweat. So I don't know if that relates to it. I'm not really sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking is like when you do Kapalabhati, for example, you're like,
Right, right.
you can generate heat and then like because this is sort of how it relates to the heart, right? Is then your heart rate goes up and then you're like sweating. I have no idea. I'm just making it up.
That's a
I
good.
don't know.
I think
But
that's possible.
yeah.
So so we would say then if he asks us what the lungs do, um, so what would you say? Uh, I mean, it's
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
so feel like I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
um I mean, what do the lungs do? I mean, well, this talks about the like protective chi and like the skin and stuff and like the like getting rid of the colds and flus and fighting off the external environmental toxins.
Yeah, I
Uh,
would say that. I think that's the key. Yeah, I would say that's the most important thing is um, to fight off, um, excess environmental issues. Yeah.
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 And bringing in the chi energy from the air.
Hmm.
You might be right about the water. I don't know. Okay, I think lungs we probably have,
Okay. So
and
let's go then.
it's paired with
um,
intestine, and large intestines basically receives the waste from the small intestine, um,
it's
and absorbs the fluids and
all right.
uh,
That's pretty easy. Large intestine's good. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? The stomach.
bleed in the stomach. Yeah.
Let's see. I guess stomach transforms food and drink. Um, and I guess it, well, the other thing too, I think about the stomach is that it affects the tongue coating, which I think is important.
Yeah, it opens. Oh, opens in the mouth. The heart affects the
Okay,
heart in the tongue.
makes sense. All right. I guess that's, yeah.
Oh, which is why the pulse and the tongue maybe go together.
Hmm.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, so the stomach just like decomposes the food, dumps it into the small intestine. The spleen, this is all earth, and the spleen, as we talked about, transforms the chi and transports it. Um, so it like helps control the blood, brings it to the muscles.
Information and transportation is the spleen, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Controls the blood, controls muscles and limbs. Um, um, I guess the expression raising of the pure, because it takes the good um, from the stomach, the good.
Yeah, it ascends the chi.
And the other thing which it does, which is a little confusing too, is okay, it says the spleen houses thought, but what about the heart? Doesn't the heart relate to like thinking? Or like what, I'm not clear in terms of what's the difference between, how is that categorized? How can you differentiate thought from
I don't
heart?
do that. I think I'm looking at my little cheat sheet here because I thought that so the essence, oh, the essence, right. Now it's coming back. So the heart rules more of the emotions, right? The
Yeah.
heart is the one that houses the mind because that's like your consciousness, your thinking, your sleep, your memory.
Mm.
Kidney, the essence is the yin. That's our jing. The jing is like our DNA. It's like our sex drive. It's like everything. It's kind of like evolutionary. It's like our life force. You know what I mean? It's like our energy levels.
Now, how does the Jing relate to the difference between like the Jing, I'm thinking kidney, but is the Jing um, heart also, or
The,
mainly kidney?
no, the heart's different. The Jing is more that primordial life force. It's more like what your body's made up of. It's like your drive, the reproduction, growth, development. Whereas the heart, it's like when you, it's sort of like when you control your heart rate,
Mm.
suddenly your thoughts calm down. If you're getting emotional about something,
Yeah, I
uh,
agree totally. Yeah.
that's all more the heart. The heart and the mind are like very connected, right? That like you
Mm.
know um the kidney, like kidney rules fear, the emotion of fear, and it also rule it because I talked to Anton about this. That was my question. The kidney has like the endocrine system, right?
Right.
That's like all of our hormones. And he was sort of saying, it's not like it's this idea of creation, but creation, your body doesn't know, are you creating a baby? Like,
Mm.
are you gathering energy to create a baby, or are you gathering like just energy for life? You know what I mean? So when you gather up your essence or your jing, you're gathering up this sort of like energy force in you. And evolutionary, I think you're getting ready to create a baby, but like that's why people like the monks who are celibate, like they're gaining energy in their kidney. And it's this very, I don't know, kind of primal thing. Um, and then the Shen, is that the liver?
Yeah, that sort of I wasn't clear on either about because I've seen it in a few places. Let me see if I have it in my notes. The
I
Shen.
can't remember where the Shen is.
Let's see.
More like your purpose in life.
Mm.
It's more that spiritual.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's said to live in the blood vessels and part of the system of the heart. Um,
Oh, that's the Shen. Shen is the mind. Shen houses the mind. Okay, that's consciousness. That's right.
okay.
But there was one, there's three treasures. The Jing is the first one. Then there's Shen. Something else, and I think there's Shen.
I'm not sure.
Because I took a workshop on herbs.
Okay.
And the herbs support these three treasures and like,
Hmm.
which is really cool.
So was that like Western herbs or Eastern Chinese herbs?
I think they were Chinese herbs.
Oh, okay.
'Cause it was this woman from the Open Center too, so it was kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah, I sort of took a few classes in Western, but not Eastern. But there are some um, that are both West and Eastern.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either.
Mm. But that's something I'm really interested in, though, is in terms of the. Uh, I just sort of touched on it. What the if the food is cold or hot or whatever to um, their constitution. That's what I'm thinking of the word. The constitutions of food and how it relates to people. I think it's something good to know. That's something I'm really looking forward to learning more about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be a huge part of this course. And I want to ask him too. Anton told me to ask him about Drew about like the intensity of this course. Like, is it going to shift? Are we going to keep doing like more of this type of stuff? Or like, I'm wondering, are we going to get more into like the food stuff? And
Yeah, because I that's something I'm really interested in is food.
Mhm.
Uh, because I sort of more practical. I really like to help people, help myself also with practicality in terms of to stay healthy in your everyday, what you're eating, how you're feeling, what you should eat, that type of thing. And I mean, I think it's good to know the herbs in terms of emergency cases or if you're really sick or whatever. But I think it's even more important to know the food on how to stay healthy, and the people that I know to keep them healthy, and more practical too, something that they could buy. And that's what he said in the beginning, which really drew me to him is to be able to go to the supermarket or whatever and to get everything you need to stay healthy. Um, that would be great.
Right.
But I also, one thing that I did mention to Drew was, especially when we get into the pulse, I think it would be nice, even if it's like next year or whatever, to get together with him, because the pulse, I mean, the tongue we could sort of, he could really see, but with pulse, I think it really needs, you need somebody that knows what they're doing to check, how do how do we know if it's slippery or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like how do you actually feel it on a person?
right. And how do, how does he know that we know or that we got it right? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He has to, after we take somebody's pulse, we say, okay, this is slippery. He really has to take their pulse to say, yes, it is slippery. How could he really tell if it is or not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 I do.
So that's something that I'm hoping that will happen in the future. Um, because I think that's a big part of it, the pulse.
Absolutely. I was going to ask my acupuncturist to help me, but I think that's a great point. I was wondering the same thing, which was like, if we can't be in person, you know, how are we really supposed to learn that piece of it?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's the important part. Um, that, and I think somebody mentioned also is uh, when we do get it to the herbs, I really like to know uh, the plant, what the plant looks like, and if it's more than just after it's processed. You know what I mean? I like to know, to see the plant, to feel the plant, not just the the dried leaf or whatever. So I'm hoping it goes into that also, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's great. I think you have a real passion and you seem very driven with all this stuff. And
Yeah, it's really actually, it's my life really. Yeah, I love plants and uh, making food, making medicine. It's something I really enjoy doing.
what do you do for a living?
Actually, I just in July I just retired.
Oh,
Uh,
congrats.
yeah, yeah. I was a science teacher, and well, before that, I was a computer teacher in
Um,
studies. Um, I started in junior high, and then the last few years I was in elementary school.
cool.
So, and I always related um, like science and health and plants to whatever I was teaching. So, it
That's
was, yeah, so
great.
I knew it was something I was going to go more into.
Yeah, no, I think that's, and I love that like you're doing this even when you're retired.
Yeah, yeah, it's a passion that I really like. But how about yourself?
Sorry, I lost you for a second.
Oh, sure. What
There you are.
what do you do?
I'm a licensed therapist, and so right now I'm kind of been in the clinical world, but I trained as a yoga teacher. I did a couple 200 hours. I actually am already a integrative health and wellness coach, um, and yeah, and so I'm interested in doing more of a practice in the wellness field, and working more for like my acupuncturist or something, and teaching yoga and doing more of that stuff because it's just I don't know, like I want to combine like the mental health with, like I've said, psychotherapy and stuff, and combine that with all this. And I don't know how that's going to look, but just taking all my skills and somehow applying it, um, in a different, in more of a calm wellness setting rather than like, I'm just in such a crazy environment and it's just really intense. And I don't know, I've been doing it for a few years. So I'm just kind of like, I need something a little bit more zen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand totally.
Yeah. But no, but that's awesome the work that you did and you're continuing to do, and that's really great. Are you gonna like get the certificate and take the test?
At first, I wasn't really interested, but I think I will. When I think about it, I think why not? Because I wasn't really going to. I wasn't really thinking of doing it like professionally. I was thinking of more of like a hobby or family and friends. Um, but I think it's I think it'd be good. It also would. I think it. I take it more seriously. I take myself more seriously, and people take me more seriously if I do have a certification, to be certified. So I think I probably will. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in this day and age, like everybody wants certifications and like credentials and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before I before I took the course, I wasn't really thinking about that. But the more I think about it, it makes sense. You know,
I
it
think
makes
you'll
sense.
be happy if
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
with me.
You know.
I don't know. Like my feeling too is like we're spending all this money and time. Like
Exactly. Yeah. It is time consuming. It really
I,
is.
I'm a little overwhelmed. Like I wasn't looking for this much of a time commitment out of it, but I don't know.
I know.
Whatever.
I'm still teaching regularly. It would be really hard.
Yeah, yeah, I'm working, so it's annoying, but
But I mean, it seemed. Well, we'll see what happens. It doesn't seem like he's that much of a pressure type of person. Do you know what I mean? He seems
totally.
like encouraging than like dictatorial, if you know what I mean. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think they know people are overwhelmed. I think they're trying to like make it okay for everybody and
Yeah, and I think you know what I really like his teaching style. In terms, two things. One is I like that he gives like the end first and then the beginning, because something I always did, which was with my students, I would tell them what they're learning, why they're learning it, and how they could use it, that type of thing. And he does that, which I like. And the other thing too, which I like is he's uh, really, how can I put it? He's not like a practical, I guess. He's very practical, which I think is really, really good. And I think that's important, really. And it makes it more interesting that you're doing something that you could use, not just to pass a test, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
that's that's important and that's good. So I think it'll. Oh yeah, and the other thing too is he said that's what I was thinking too. He said he'll give us the cheat sheets. So I don't really think we have to memorize everything, but I think it would be easier if we memorize some of the things for us. I think that's why he's doing this, and he
Yeah.
said that. So I think I don't think it's going to be this intense. I think it's just doing this just to encourage us to learn as much as we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I think it'll be okay. I really do. I don't think he's going to really burn us out
Yeah. All right.
because he seems really practical.
I hope so. I'm gonna ask him on Tuesday. I have like a whole list of questions now for him. I wrote it all down. So I'm gonna grill him,
Good, good.
grill
Yeah,
him whenever.
write down some questions for him too. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyways, yeah, and we can keep if you want to review again any point or, let me know.
Yeah, same here. I mean, contact me anytime, email, text, whatever convenient for you.
Let me see what he says about like how many assignments there's going to be if this is going to be like a regular thing, you know what I mean? Or if this was just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so because he said he's going to give us the cheat sheets. So I think when we have the cheat sheets, it's going to be easier. Um, yeah, I can't see this getting more complex. I think it's probably the hardest it's going to be now, I would think, or hope.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to think positive. Always think positive.
Yeah, well, if other people could survive this, I think we can. So, but yeah, no, let's do this again, and
Yeah,
it's helpful to just talk all these ideas out. So,
definitely focus. I definitely made some mistakes, and it's nice to.
no, I mean, I don't even know if I'm right on, I just,
It's good to bounce things off of one person before you go to the whole class type of thing. Um,
yeah, no, definitely, I agree.
so good. So it's we'll see what happens Tuesday, and we'll stay in touch. And yeah, I think it's good. I hope I helped. You definitely helped me. I hope you helped.
You, Nick, that was very helpful. I'm glad we got. It's just nice to like know you're on the same page because I feel like we don't really know the people in the group right now.
It's true.
So it's nice to like personally talk to somebody and be like, hey, I'm like totally lost on this, like too, you know what I mean? So I don't feel like, because I was sitting there, I was like, is everybody getting this? Because I'm like so, you know, confused.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling, especially when I was reading that book, I was definitely feeling that way. It's like, what am I doing?
I know. I read the book. I was like, I can't do this.
But
Anyways,
uh,
uh,
all right, enjoy the night, and I'll probably see you, I guess, on Tuesday. But
yeah,
and before or after then, feel free if you have any questions or anything you want to bounce off of email, texts.
yeah, be brief.
Okay,
All righty. Sounds good.
thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Um,
Nick. Talk to you
see you
soon.
soon. All
Bye.
right, good night. See if I can get out of this thing now. Okay. How do I do this? Okay. Sharing.
There you are.
All right. All
All
right.
right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.